Welcome to Off Grid Victory. So what we started to do is just tile up the area where the fireplace is going to be. Now, a couple things here about tile. So what I decided to do is use a cement board underneath this particular tile here. Now, the cement board that I use is just a commercial name. It's called Hardybacker, but any kind of cement board would work. And the cement board I'm using on the floor was a 1/4 inch, and I believe the one that I used on the wall was 3/8. Now with cement board, obviously you got to use the right screws, nail and screw it down, and make sure that it's down nice and firm before you put any kind of tile on it, because you don't want any movement, you don't want any flex in the floor. Otherwise the seams here, which I haven't grouted yet, will come apart and your tiles may crack and they'll separate from the mortar and be loose. So yeah, you want to use good cement board, you want to use good mortar, you want to make sure that the floor itself is very hard and level and rigid, and so that you won't have future issues with your tile after you've installed it. Now the other thing is, right now it is pretty cold here in the Ozarks, so I have this fireplace going to cure my tile here. It's been 2 days since the floor was set, and so I didn't want to put any weight on it until last night, and then I put this fireplace back into place. The mortar that I'm using down here is the standard, I believe it's ceramic / porcelain grade mortar. It's gray color, and you mix it yourself as you go along, and that holds up to the weight and holds up to traffic. Versus up here on the wall, I used a latex kind of a prefabricated material, glue, that I used, partly because it goes through multiple materials. Like here, I'm going to try to show you right in here, right there is that cement board material, and then it kind of goes into drywall. So it's hitting multiple surface. This is not going to get traffic. So it really doesn't have to be weight bearing at all. So it doesn't have to be the sanded mortar material. So that's just glued onto there, and that'll be fine, and that's going to hold up well. The other thing I wanted to mention is cleanup is very important as you do tile. Now the tile here was done with spacers. I highly recommend spacers. I'll show you what they look like. They look like this. Kind of a demonic symbol, I guess. But anyway, these are spacers, tile spacers, to get you the spacing you need. And I'm using, this is like roughly 1/4 inch spacing. And you can see here the grout that I've done. It's going vertically here. The other thing I wanted to say is, like I said, cleanup is very important. So I'm going to try to find you an example. So if you have any mortar off to the side, you want to get that off before you put your grout, because obviously you'll see, like, this is gray color, and I'll probably do some kind of a beige or an off beige, something like that, or brown in here as the grout material. So you don't want it to conflict and show that above. So for instance, like right here in this corner, I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's almost at the surface. Not quite, but you want to just tack that down a little bit. So I'm going to just push it in, and you see I just broke it off. And now I'll be able to clean that up, and I'll be able to grab over it and it'll look fine. And so same thing here in this corner. You see some here. Like, yeah, you just want to kind of get that. Now obviously, as I was doing this mortar, if I'd gotten it earlier, it would have been better. But you know, to the extent of trying to get it down quickly, you know, you're going to have some of these things. Just make sure you clean up very well afterwards. The other thing I wanted to say about tiling is you want this mortar to set properly. So the manufacturer recommends 24 hours, but in varying weather conditions, like right now here in the Ozarks, it's been below freezing for a couple days. I tried to put it down when the temperature overnight didn't go below 40. So all of this mortar on both the side here and on the bottom was put down before then. But then afterwards, it did get into freezing temperatures overnight. So that's why I have this here, because it's going to go, the wood stove, because it's going to go freezing tonight. And so, yeah, that's the other thing. And you want your mortar to cure. Like I gave it 2 days instead of 24 hours, just because I wanted to make sure that the mortar was set and I can stand on it without breaking any of these tiles in the future. And in fact, I'm going to leave it a few more days, partly because I don't have time to do it. And another, I want to give it enough time so all this mortar underneath can dry out properly. And then when I go in to grout, yeah, it'll be fully cured, and I'm not going to have any space where it wasn't, let's say, fully cured. So same thing with the floor, same thing with the wall. And now that I have, the wall is only, well, it's a day and a half old in terms of how long it's been sticking. But like I said, it's a glue adhesive material, so it sets a little bit faster than normal mortar. And so, yeah, that's been set. And so I'll once I go and start doing the entire grout, it's going to be all in one shot. And that way I have everything that's cured properly and ready to go. And yeah, and so right now I'm heating up the space and making sure that everything sets. This particular wood stove, the reason why it's a little bit higher is because I made the height of my flue stack in order to accommodate 2 types of wood stoves. And so this is just the shorter version. I have to kind of do something with a better setup to lift the stove up from the ground. The other thing with this is I have a hole here. It's a 2-inch hole. I haven't glued it down or anything like that, or made it nice. But anyway, it's going to fit a PVC tube pipe, and it's going to have a mesh in there so bugs won't get up. And then in the summertime, it'll have a cap. But anyway, that's there for an air vent so that I have a cold air draft going all the time in here. And so that's it. This is the progress so far in this container, and then you know, maybe in a week or so I'll have it all grouted out, grouted, finished, and then we can get started on the flooring. Alrighty, shalom.